Subscribe to the channel to watch the latest videos. GCR, updated on September 19, 2023. Judy takes note that my father, Freeman Byington, grew up in a state of near poverty on a potato farm in Idaho. When he was still a teenager, he lost his mother and was left with a frail father. He worked side by side with his siblings so they could go on missionary trips for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a dream he also harbored but could never fulfill due to family obligations. After earning a master's degree during the Great Depression and marrying my mother, who had 2 daughters, one of whom is myself, to support, he had to leave a high-paying job. He was drafted into the military to serve his country in World War II, a mission amidst the harsh realities of war, far removed from his gentle nature. The loving lifestyle he left behind for him resulted in a serious lifetime condition we now call post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD). Those challenges made him a stronger person. As the daughter of a true patriot, I will never truly know the many acts of kindness he performed for others because he never spoke of them. I only know of a few individuals who were blessed by his generosity. Nonetheless, I was privileged to witness one of his acts of compassion. We had an old pickup truck on the driveway. One morning, a stranger clearly had spent the night in it, opened the door, and tried to flee. My father pursued him. When he caught up, instead of reporting or punishing the unfortunate man, Dad invited him for dinner and then handed him some money along with a bus ticket to get him to his destination in a distant state. You'll never find a kinder or more humble man than my father, a true example of how challenges can make our spirits grow kinder, wiser, more compassionate, and sensitive to others. On Sunday, September 17, the hydrocarbon law, the Iraq oil law. It's done and announced. All nations are in agreement now is the time. On TV, they say money is on the way. On Saturday, September 16. Be prepared. Everything is set to unfold tomorrow evening. Banks are working right now. Bank contacts report they are dealing with a heavy workload, and by Monday, September 18, we should see progress. On Saturday, September 16, reports from Marks and 3 other sources claim they are holding a skeleton crew and call for Redemption Center work on appointment handling. There are high expectations for Sunday, September 17, and Monday, September 18, with hopes for a global rate change announcement around the 20th or 21st Street. This doesn't mean we are waiting until then. Groups are positioned and ready. Everyone is in place. The agreement is in effect. All we're waiting for is the switch to be flipped. On Saturday, September 16, Bella rose on Telegram. Marcy has a yellow hat. He stated that he would send a message on TG and go live with hot news. His subscribers also sent him a yellow mankini suit to wear. On Saturday, September 16, Texas Snake, yes, it's been a while since I last posted, but I've only heard from my sources. Now he predicts that the redemption schedule will be revealed very soon, and he will advise as soon as he hears it. He predicts that his exchange centers will open and operate in the coming week unless other obstacles arise. I will advise when the announcement is made. Everything I've read indicates that this must conclude by the end of the month, and God is on our side. After Robert Brevo is no longer, we are close in Hardtake. Many expectations for Sunday and Monday and meetings regarding the HCL agreements and with the U.S. Treasury. Everything truly seems to be lining up perfectly. All eyes are currently on the meetings from Sunday to Monday in Iraq regarding the HCL, and they say they are addressing the dinar exchange rate issue. There is information in Iraq that everything is ready and agreed upon with the U.S. Treasury to reevaluate the dinar currency. All the documents have been researched and agreed upon between the Iraqi government and the U.S. The documents were transferred to the U.S. on Monday, September 11, 2023, to the U.S. Treasury for quick signing. The Iraqi dinar is finally ready to go. Frank 26, Marks Breaking.Judy Intel Update, U.S. Assistant Secretary of the Treasury, everything has been signed, and it should be approximately 96 hours after returning from Baghdad, Iraq. She returned on Friday, September 15, plus 96 hours equals 2 seconds on September 19. On Friday, September 15, folks, we are in such a good space I can't contain the excitement for what we've seen in the past 96 hours, with nothing but powerful information from Al-Sudani. We have the U.S. Assistant Treasury Secretary appearing, large companies, outstanding energy companies, you name it, and as I am blushing pink because they've signed agreements. We have a change of pace. On Thursday, September 14, Bruce, 3 excellent sources say Terra 4B, we, the Internet Group, will receive notification before Monday, September 18. We are any day now, anytime. The redemption bonds will also take place on Monday, September 18. Tier 4B will be notified either with the redemption, or in the 2 seconds after. On September 19, military and redemption bond owners exchanged but have not yet had access to their funds. On September 2, the U.S. Treasury issued a notice to the redemption centers that everything had been signed and was ready to go. Since Friday, September 15, the banks are no longer independent but working for the U.S. Treasury. When you go into a bank to exchange, like Wells Fargo, you are not doing business with Wells Fargo. You are doing business with the U.S. Treasury. They are contracting with that bank to use the space, but the citizens are not working for the bank, they are contracted by the U.S. Treasury. An internal source, 97 out of the top 100 central banks are now being converted to operate fully on the QFS system along with RTGS. The remaining 82 smaller central banks are preparing for this conversion. On October 1, all banks must be working with QFS, which is why we think the IT has to be done by September 30. How Jenna officially applies to BRICS. The last pig standing third, the government of the Bolivar Republic of Venezuela officially proposed joining the BRICS BRIC bloc. It's the global financial collapse. On Sunday, September 17, the 236th anniversary of the Constitution. On September 17, 1787, Evergrande's asset managers were arrested by Chinese police. Evergrande is owned by BlackRock. Rubik's report itself will be responsible for the global housing market collapse of 80%. They were used as a Mossad/CIA/MI5 crossover source of funding for all your election fraud worldwide, not just in the USA. Think Dominion. Evergrande links to Rio Tinto and BHP2 in Australia. It's the Titanic. It's owned by Vanguard and BlackRock. It's not just taking down Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the USD, it's doing much more. Executive Orders 13.848 and 13.959 reports will be reduced as planned. They've requested auditors to conduct a full audit of Evergrande and all its subsidiaries for the past months. They had a 3-week deadline to release the report but held it. Clearly, it will decrease when they need it to. Wristbands point to the Republican countries. On Thursday, September 14, an unprecedented EBS activation across Europe signals suspicion and an impending storm. In major events this week, Falford, 1 year, Prince Andrew is accused of sexually abusing 2 children while in Ukraine. 2. The Burning Man festival ends in chaos as attendees get stuck. 3. Twitter exposes the ADL to protect criminals. 4. Jack Smith is trying to prosecute President Trump again. 5. Tucker Carlson will interview a man for having sex with Obama. 6. China is mobilizing its military and may be preparing for war. 7. Hunter Biden's diet guru will be here later this month. 8. The Russian government has released new evidence showing illegal biological labs in Ukraine. 9. Ukraine continues to bomb its own citizens and blame Russia. 10. George Soros' son plans to intervene in the 2024 elections. E-Timeline. On February 4, 2021, the U.S. corporation's bankruptcy was completed, paperwork submitted in Tallahassee, Florida. On Friday, September 1, 2023, full integration of the quantum financial system occurred after the U.S. national debt of nearly $33 trillion was offset. This triggered the reset of the global currency. On Thursday, September 7, Executive Order 13.848 was extended by Biden for another year. The order signed by President Trump contemplated imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in U.S. elections. From foreign lands related to U.S. Inc., established as an illicit corporate residency government on foreign soil within the 10 square miles of the District of Columbia, or Washington, D.C. On Friday, September 8, funds were moved to reset the global currency. In Zurich, the Golden Dragon bonds were settled, while Admiral Enrino issued the redemption codes and gave the green light. As of Friday, September 15, 97 out of the top 100 central banks are being converted to operate fully within the QFS system, along with RTGS. The remaining 82 smaller central banks are preparing for this conversion. On September 19, the RV is expected to take place. Saturday, September 23 is something that's going down on September 23. The answer might shock you. On Sunday, October 1, all banks must work with the new quantum financial system. On Wednesday, October 4, Cabal initiated an emergency alert system test, 10 days of darkness beginning in 1582, similar to Cabal's planned nationwide emergency alert system test on Wednesday, November 1. Currency exchanges and the redemption of Zimbonds have been completed, at which point the Federal Reserve dollar will be considered worthless. FP McKill Cities, 5G Towers, Maui Massacre Update, U.S. Inc. targeted Lahaina as a killing event. James O'Keefe is a secret in the Lahaina fire. Raylene Short reports from Kihei, Maui, Hawaii, providing us with updates on what has happened in Maui since the devastating fire occurred. FP McKill Cities, New Sergeant Report, Deborah Taveras, FEMA, News and Kill Cities, 5G Towers. These mysterious engineers have found a way to broadcast their dark magic through technology. These 5G towers are actually psi weapons, unrelated to high-speed internet. They specifically target parts of the brain's nervous system that they want to make you feel obedient, angry, sad, or anxious. Depending on the situation and the desired outcome, they have used these weapons for a very long time, even before World War II, to break the spirits of their enemies. In cases where these frequencies may become too much to handle, combine this with blue beam technology, and you might start hearing and seeing Almighty Jesus. Maui Space Force's misguided campaign, FEMA, Red Cross, and Oprah making dollar, gas chambers, and smart cities. Maui Massacre, an urgent plea, the sovereign nation's capital, Hawaii, and Lohina Maui have been destroyed. Hundreds of men, women, and children are believed to have died. Over 2,000 children are still missing. At least 4,500 people have been displaced. Any help you can provide in terms of aid will be greatly appreciated. Be cautious where you donate. The Kingdom of Akal Foundation's Malamalahina website is the official and sole authorized website solely for and operated by Hawaii's native indigenous people. For over 5 years, Barbie and Kent Chrome have fought for freedom from U.S. Inc. private ownership. Even after they won a federal tax court case ruling that they didn't owe money to the IRS, 27 SWAT teams of men took all the money from their home, including expensive camera equipment that they could use to make a living, and then imprisoned Ken. On September 12, 2023, Ken Chrome's interview was released from prison, a requirement here for all patriots. Jade donations are necessary in the battles for our freedom, but do you get the great freedom you deserve? Everyone is trying to help each other financially by sharing contributions for printing, postage, mailing, and service of legal documents to criminals and courts. Your contributions can make the impossible happen. See the exciting things a miraculous donation can bring to you. Real news for Sunday, September 17, 2023, Saturday, September 16, 2023. Libya 10,000 missing, 3,000 drowned as floods wipe out entire villages. Friday, September 15, White Hats are active, military intelligence exposes the secrets of the DS cabal's weaponry. Over the past 4 days, the Walton family, owners of Walmart, have sold over $401 million of their shares. Did they know what's about to happen? Yoko Ono, John Lennon, and Paul McCartney are indeed still alive. They joined the JFK Jr. Whistleblower program on Telegram on September 16, 2023. Friday, September 15, JFK assassination coup military island brushes with Trump's military coup island. There are no coincidences. Trump, can you believe that Joe Biden's erratic behavior is giving away $6 billion to terrorist regimes in Iran? That money is being used for terrorism across the Middle East and, indeed, globally. This clueless, inept fool is entirely destroying America. He brazenly announced this horrendous deal today, 9/11. Paying ransoms will lead to kidnappings, ransom demands, and extortion against Americans worldwide. I have paid for the freedom of dozens of our people from many unfriendly countries and have never paid a penny. Evidence of Biden's corrupt business dealings, Saturday, September 16. Breaking. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. narrowly escapes death, fear of assassination in the Wilshire Theater. A leading nonprofit organization secretly introduces sex education and LGBTQ+ programs into schools, admitting the goal is to strip parents of their opt-out rights. Hannah Weirs, a leading health educator, thinks our real goal is to ensure that opt-out choice doesn't exist. FBI has identified the culprit in the $41 million casino heist, raising the total stolen to over $1 billion by the gang closely linked to Hunter Biden. FBI released documents mention a hacker group closely associated with Hunter Biden, another action that has been kept public and the courts silent. BBC reported the collapse of WTC-7 about 20 minutes before it actually fell in September. Biden asked their reporter to provide this news as Building 7 stood tall in the background. How did BBC know that a 47-story steel-framed skyscraper would collapse due to a fire, a first in history, before the Twin Towers? Co-founder of Greenpeace, Dr. Patrick Moore, explains how globalist elites not elected, including Klaus Schwab and the United Nations, are using climate fraud as an excuse to cut fossil fuels and nitrogen fertilizers, deliberately reducing the planet's population. These power elites, like Schwab and below, want to control the world. They want to control everyone. Now what do they want? They want fewer people. Who in the West, Hillary Clinton, is changing the shape of politics. Bill Gates' mosquito factory in Colombia releases 30 million genetically modified mosquitoes weekly in 11 countries. Intelligence information has changed everything. Ward, Parks, Nino, Rodriguez, Islam. Roman law, designed specifically to deny citizens any rights whatsoever. The Roman law should be repealed through the 12 assumptions of the law. International organ and adrenochrome trafficking ring no longer Vatican-based, now inside China's Three Gorges Dam. Friday, September 15 bombshell. Deep State pedophiles exposed, a list of Hollywood VIPs, Deep State, CIA, major corporations, politicians, Vatican, and Epstein's pedo island guests. Hillary Clinton's pedo network exploding. Hillary Clinton's pedo network continues to unravel, confirmed by FBI and NYPD. Hillary Clinton's massive criminal organization in Washington, D.C., also operating one of the world's largest pedo rings. Let that sink in for a moment. Judy notes, 6 years ago on May 17, 2017, I received an email from the legal department of the Examiner website saying my articles on Vatican Catholic Church sex abuse were inappropriate, and they would no longer allow me to post or remove all my articles. That's when I started posting articles on its predecessor news website, which I found had a much larger readership. Here are some inappropriate articles. Vatican, Clinton, Soros, global elite named in child rape and murder cases. The surface of the child holocaust by Vatican leadership, the cover-up of Pope Francis's involvement in the planned sacrifice of children on June 21, newborns abused in cages, and body parts released without charges. Celebrities, Vatican, global elites charged with child sacrifice. In all the chemical components demonized over the years, sodium must be one of the most important. It's only when you combine a high-sodium diet, including tons of junk food, with a sedentary lifestyle and overall poor health choices that you get the negative effects of sodium. Simply put, salt alone is not to blame for conditions like high blood pressure, at least in the vast majority of people. Despite the FDA's push to reduce sodium, research has shown that not only is sodium not nearly as bad as it's made out to be, but you're actually missing out on important benefits. Marco Polo 501c3, a nonprofit organization, has released a comprehensive 640-page report on Biden's laptop. The report meticulously documents 459 crimes related to the Biden family and their associates, based on documents, emails, photos, conversations, and text from Hunter's laptop. In addition to the free online report, Marco Polo has created an online searchable database containing emails, documents, and materials from Hunter's laptop. Biden's laptop is the Rosetta Stone for uncovering political corruption, making Marco Polo's report on Biden's laptop required reading for all Americans. Biden's legal action against Gayard Ziegler and Marco Polo 501c3 came one day after the investigation into President Biden's impeachment was launched. Marco Polo has successfully exposed the Biden family's foreign influence, money laundering, and alleged criminal activities. Please consider purchasing a physical copy of the report on Biden's laptop or contributing to the Marco Polo Legal Defense Fund through the link below. Your support, many posts, and comments are highly appreciated. Oh, 5G towers, these mysterious magicians have found a way to broadcast their black magic through technology. These 5G towers are actually psi weapons, unrelated to high-speed internet. They specifically target a part of the brain's nervous system to make you feel more obedient, angry, sad, or anxious, depending on the situation and the desired outcome. They've been using these weapons for a very long time, even before World War II, using them to break the spirits of their enemies, where these frequencies can become too much to handle. Combine this with blue beam technology, and you may start hearing and seeing Almighty Jesus. Israel is developing unbeatable spyware in the investigation based on interviews with over 15 sources from Israel's cyber attack, security, and defense industries, revealing that a small group of top-notch companies has developed technology using ads to attack targets and inject spyware. As millions of ads compete for screen space, Israeli companies secretly turn these ads into surveillance tools or even capable of penetrating our computers or phones. One of these companies is Insenet, founded by some prominent businessmen in the cybersecurity and digital intelligence field, owned by former senior members of the defense establishment, including a former leader of the National Security Council, Danny R.D.D. The investigation shows that the company has developed ad exploitation technology to both monitor and infect It's no coincidence that the company named its product Sherlock. Another Israeli company, Rayzone, has developed a similar product and this year received approval in principles to sell it to Western clients, although this has not yet happened in reality. David Wilcock has painted a picture for the past 10 years that military intelligence has been monitoring the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, and their arrest activities within the U.S. government's 3 branches. For the past 7 years, the White Hat Alliance has laid a trap to overthrow the CCP's activities inside the United States. The 2020 U.S. election theft was a military operation by White Hat operatives related to Trump's executive orders, the laws of wartime protocol, and power transition plans to establish the U.S. military 11.3 war occupation law. During this military and wartime law, special forces, orders, and protocols issued by JFK, Reagan, and the Trump administration, and EOS, grant all military powers to arrest citizens, organizations, power structures, and the elite within the government, politicians, and all those who adhere to foreign influences, the Chinese Communist Party, in a military coup against the United States and its military forces. The CIA, along with financial organizations, banks, and funds controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, manipulate Hollywood and their overseeing agencies. The Chinese Communist Party also controls vast social media influence networks through subsidiary banks and investors. Corruption within the Chinese Communist Party is closely tied to the activities of the CIA, Wall Street, BlackRock, and the World Bank, including espionage through the Biden crime family, the Obama administration, the Clinton Foundation, and financial relationships. The deep-seated status of the Rockefeller family. Groups like DuPont, Rothschild, Royal Elites, and Bilderbergers are directly connected to the Chinese Communist Party and its influence over the EU conglomerate and the World Military Intelligence Organization. These are some of the major reasons why Hollywood, the CIA, and mainstream media will not condemn China for the virus or Wuhan. Activities of the U.S. military are currently underway and are monitoring the U.S. military intelligence and the U.S. deep state, as well as the CIA working directly with the Chinese Communist Party. When the fire broke out on August 8, 2023, at 6:37 a.m. in Lahaina, Hawaii, the Chinese Communist Party NORAD 555,836 directly used energy weapons, laser satellites, flew over Lahaina, and NORAD operations in the United States helped protect the Chinese Communist Party's labeled satellites flying through NORAD. White hat individuals with advanced computer science and robotics engineers and military intelligence are monitoring the Chinese Communist Party, laser satellites, and their activities. These white hat individuals are painting a picture and disseminating military information into the public domain through private boards, citizens working in specialized fields, those capable of exposing the CIA's overall control since the CIA controls the direction of energy weapon operations. Monitoring the activities of the Chinese Communist Party, CIA, M16 Mossad, is directly related to acts of treason. These white hat individuals are creating a public expose that will connect to military courts and arrests of war crimes. Everything happening now is being documented as military courts and commanders monitor treasonous activities taking place and fully record relevant acts of treason to capture the activities of the United States bankrupt corporate conglomerate. With faith, patriotic alliances, the military, Trump, Cheyenne Mountain USSFR are drawing a picture for military intervention, trials, and upcoming occupations. Everything must be done by the books. In the coming time, all land acquired by the Chinese Communist Party, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and the elite will be returned to U.S. citizens. Executive orders signed by Trump to seize the assets of all conspirators in the military coup and foreign occupation will be enforced. Justice and intervention in U.S. elections will have to face prosecution and asset forfeiture, potentially facing life imprisonment or capital punishment. Our Saturday, September 16. FBI reveals 17. Truth Justice brand on X. Former FBI director confirms FBI infiltrated by satanic Illuminati. Cults related to the Kennedy assassination. Oklahoma bombing, Waco siege, World Trade Center bombing, 9/11, and kidnapping. Children for sex, sacrifice, and organ harvesting. Former FBI agent Ted Gunderson continues to speak based on his 28 years of experience and research into an illegal secret criminal enterprise of the U.S. government operating within the United States in several cities. The tragedy at Tan Chao Harbor could have been avoided, we knew on December 4, and could have pulled the U.S. fleet out before we were attacked. President John F. Kennedy, also known as Jack, was assassinated by the CIA, and the FBI aided in the Assassination by diverting President Kennedy's vehicle onto a different route. Lyndon B. Johnson knew President Kennedy would be assassinated and wanted him dead. Robert F. Kennedy, Bobby, was also assassinated by the same illegal government infiltration. The Oklahoma City bombing was carried out by the New World Order boys, and U.S. military explosives were used. Timothy McVeigh was a CIA operative. In the Waco siege incident, he confirmed that 4 ATF agents were actually assassinated by government sniper sharpshooters. These same ATF agents who were killed had previously been bodyguards for Bill Clinton. The FBI had prior knowledge of the World Trade Center car bombing and supplied the components for the bomb used to detonate the World Trade Center. As a private investigator, upon retiring from the FBI, he confronted Jeffrey Robert McDonald's case, an American medical doctor. In the United States, a U.S. Army officer was convicted in August 1979 of murdering his pregnant wife and 2 daughters in February 1970 while serving as a physician with the U.S. Special Forces. During the investigation of the McDonald case, he received a signed confession from the satanic cult leader herself, saying that Jeffrey McDonald did not do it, that it was her Satan worshipping cult group that carried out these murders. The court ignored her confession. I actually continue to confess that this is a large-scale drug operation. Covered up. They were flying drugs in plastic bags inside the body bags of dead GI soldiers out of Southeast Asia. There are military generals involved, other military officers, police officers, and investigators for the military. When Ted publicly disclosed this information, he received hundreds of calls from victims telling him about the satanic cult movement in the United States. These individuals are victims of an illegal secret criminal enterprise of the U.S. government. Since becoming an FBI whistleblower, he has been investigated by the FBI in an effort to prosecute him. He has been placed on 2 separate hit lists for assassination. He has been poisoned and targeted with disinformation to discredit him for exposing corruption within the CIA, FBI, and the government. He worked on the Franklin cover-up case related to illegal drug activities of the government and satanic cults. They were taking children out of orphanages and foster homes and taking them to Washington, D.C. for sexual parties with U.S. congressmen and senators. This was filmed for blackmail purposes. Through the investigation of the Franklin case, it led him to an organization in Washington, D.C. called the Finders, a secret CIA operation involved in child trafficking. Thousands of children are kidnapped and abducted every year during satanic holidays on 6/21, 10/31, and December to be ritually sacrificed. World leaders are involved in this satanic cult. He says that this country, America, is ruled by Satanists. He warns of election fraud occurring through electronic voting systems. This is what happened in the 2020 U.S. presidential election and will happen again unless we stop. The 300 Committee. The satanic Illuminati cult that he is referring to is a member of the 300 Committee. It has also been exposed by an MI6 intelligence officer for 45 years. Brave men and women have been warning us about the 300 Committee for many years, and we have not done anything to stop them. In my previous writings, I have listed all their names. They must be stopped. If we don't stop them right now, they will achieve their goal of reducing the world's population and controlling humanity. They will completely destroy the United States. We cannot be afraid, fearing their biggest tool against us. We must act now and stand firm to protect our lives, freedom, liberty, and innocent children. As NASA revealed, the lost technology of NASA will make you think that we have never been to the moon. This is the result of many requests from the public for the original moon records. When landing, NASA announced that the records were lost. According to their statement, all 700 boxes were lost. Furthermore, Americans still cannot return to the moon due to the loss of technology suitable for space that provides unique radiation protection and temperature control. Also lost are the super heavy launch vehicles necessary to complete the moon landing. Additionally, all the moon soil collected, weighing nearly 300 kilograms, has been lost, and now NASA is trying to obtain small soil samples from other countries. One cannot disagree that in the modern age of technology, all of this sounds quite absurd. On Saturday, September 16, the global financial collapse, Rubik's Cube, Zambia, China to de-dollarize. Zambia and China have agreed to encourage the wider use of their own currencies in trade and investment after a meeting in Beijing between President Xi Jinping and Hakayan Hichilema. This measure will reduce foreign exchange costs and exchange rate risks, according to a joint statement by the two leaders on Friday. In addition, this move may reduce dependence on the US dollar, which is currently used to price copper. The dollar accounts for about 70% of Zambia's export earnings, while China represents about half of global demand. UAW labor strikes have begun, and this strike, according to General Motors and Stellantis, could last until the next Chinese New Year. The next will be the ports shutting down. A solar storm warning, a massive CME, could hit Earth this weekend. Be sure to check for details now. Stock options worth 34 trillion Bitcoin expired on Friday, September 15. UBS stocks, bond investors of Credit Suisse may have scored a SUSWICEL and are due to show up in the United States. The cooperation agreement being prepared by CEO Russell Pilmer and Chairman Warwick Nigas of Pengana Capital Limited will be signed this weekend. Pengana is an Australian company based in Chicago. I asked about Argon. UAW, the government of a one world order, many titles such as World Chancellor and Autocrat King, etc. all refer to the head of the United Nations, the one with his lordship's title. His government will include the Council on Foreign Relations, including the Trilateral Commission, Japan, and the Bilderberg Group, Europe, usually augmented by the Rothschild central banking system to fulfill the prophecy of a master race of a Jewish racial order. While the rest of the world becomes one of genetically slow developing species through genetic DNA modification and moral standards degradation. B. The Conspiracy of Consequences, the Cathedral of Satan Protocols of Elders of Zion Meetings. The Kingdom of Khazar is landlocked between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, nowadays mainly occupied by Georgia but also extending to Russia, Poland, Lithuania, Hungary, and Romania. The Khazar people are a mixed race of Asian nomads with a Turkish-speaking alliance. The tribes, by the end of the 7th century, established a large trading empire covering the southeastern part of modern European Russia. Their kingdom lasted from around 650 to 850 AD. One of the main reasons for the downfall of the Khazarian kingdom, although it did not end, as they simply went underground and spread throughout Europe and Asia, interbreeding and plundering along the way, was due to the Khazarian kingdom and its monarchs. They developed a reputation for cruelty, which Russia and neighboring countries forced to make a religious decision or face certain death. The nefarious plan of the Khazarian mafia is to invade, specialize, and eliminate all Abrahamic religions from the world and allow only their religion of Babylon Talmudism, also known as Luciferianism, worshipping the ancient god Baal. The history of Khazar's Zionism, especially the Khazarian Mafia, the world's largest organized crime syndicate, which turned its political puppet leaders into the deployment of their Babylonian money magic, has been almost completely erased from our history books. The modern-day Khazarian Mafia knows that they cannot operate or exist without absolute secrecy, and therefore have spent vast sums of money to erase its history from our books and prevent citizens around the world from learning about its unimaginable evil and empowering this international mafia. World terrorism is actually being carried out by this large international organized crime syndicate, closely related to the Zionist elite called Israel. The modern-day Khazarian Mafia is conducting a secret war against the United States and its citizens using false flag terrorism and through the illegal Federal Reserve System and the Constitution, IRS, FBI, FEMA, Homeland Security, and TSA. The Khazarian Mafia is also responsible for orchestrating an inside job, a false flag attack on September 11, 2001, in the United States. Jerusalem is a political movement sponsored by the Rothschild family and established by Theodor Herzl in 1896 with the goal of returning Jews to Eretz Yisrael, or Zion, which for Jews is synonymous with Jerusalem and the land of Israel. The name of the Zionist doctrine originated from Mount Zion, the hill where the Temple of Jerusalem was located. Supporters of this movement are called Zionists. Today, there is much confusion among Jews, as well as others, about the meaning of the term Zionism. It has different meanings for different people. The reason for this is that in history, Jewish Zionism was a movement dominated by secular Jews. Herzl and most of his colleagues were crypto-Jews, those who did not believe in or practice the Torah. Some Zionist proponents vehemently opposed religious Judaism and viewed the Torah as an outdated ritual with no place in their modern state. However, the essence of the Zionist idea, that Jews should return to the Holy Land and establish a government, was not secular and, in fact, the Zionist movement had some, although in the minority, religious members right from the beginning. Some Jews today use the term Zionism as a synonym for Israel's secularism. However, this is not the true meaning of the term Zionism, which is the concept that Jews should rise up, liberate themselves from exile without waiting for the Messiah, and establish a Jewish government in the Holy Land. In Jewish texts, scholars have shown that this concept goes against the Torah and has been opposed by Jewish sages throughout the generations. W. A list of newly connected banks to the QFS system or in the process of being connected, QFS combined with RTGS trust in the plan. A list of newly connected banks to the QFS system or in the process of being connected, QFS combined with RTGS trust in the plan. To prevent global citizens from learning about its unimaginable evil, which empowers this international mafia, the true world terrorism is orchestrated by this large international organized crime syndicate, closely linked to the Zionist entity known as Israel. Today's Khazarian mafia is conducting a covert war against the United States and its citizens using false flag terrorism and through the unlawful Federal Reserve System and the Constitution, IRS, FBI, FEMA, Homeland Security, and TSA. The Khazarian mafia is also responsible for orchestrating an inside job, a false flag attack on September 11, 2001, in the United States. Jerusalem is a political movement sponsored by the Rothschild family and established by Theodor Herzl in 1896, with the goal of returning Jews to Eretz Yisrael, or Zion, which for Jews is synonymous with Jerusalem and the land of Israel. The name of the Zionist doctrine originated from Mount Zion, the hill where the Temple of Jerusalem was located. Supporters of this movement are called Zionists. Today, there is much confusion among Jews, as well as others, about the meaning of the term Zionism. It has different meanings for different people. The reason for this is that in history, Jewish Zionism was a movement dominated by secular Jews. Herzl and most of his colleagues were crypto-Jews, those who did not believe in or practice the Torah. Some Zionist proponents vehemently opposed religious Judaism and viewed the Torah as an outdated ritual with no place in their modern state. However, the essence of the Zionist idea, that Jews should return to the Holy Land and establish a government, was not secular, and in fact, the Zionist movement had some, although in the minority, religious members right from the beginning. Some Jews today use the term Zionism as a synonym for Israel's secularism. However, this is not the true meaning of the term Zionism, which is the concept that Jews should rise up, liberate themselves from exile without waiting for the Messiah, and establish a Jewish government in the Holy Land. In Jewish texts, scholars have shown that this concept goes against the Torah and has been opposed by Jewish sages throughout the generations. W. A list of newly connected banks to the QFS system or in the process of being connected, QFS combined with RTGS trust in the plan.